All right. Okay, we're here this morning because I felt it was important to take time and recognize what I believe to be a great accomplishment on the part of the Jackson Police Department Code Services Division. About a year ago, Mayor Yarber assigned the Code Services Division to the Jackson Police Department. And the reason why we're here at this location at this particular time is because this lot represents the 100th demolition of a dilapidated property since Code Services was put under the Jackson Police Department. And I'm just very, very proud to stand here and acknowledge this because, as all of you know, dilapidated properties, abandoned houses, overgrown properties have been a big issue and remain a big issue in the city of Jackson. And we believed when we got to the 100 property, the 100th house that was demolished, that it represents a milestone and it represents progress as it relates to what the Jackson Police Department and the communities in Jackson are trying to do to eradicate dilapidated houses and overgrown properties. So at this point, I want to do one thing first, and then I'm going to bring Chief Wade up. To my left is the Assistant Chief for the Police Department, Alan White, and on my right is Michael Starks. He's the President of the Queens Homeowners Association. Now, for further information as it relates to this commemoration, I'm going to bring up Deputy Chief Joseph Wade. When we got Code Services, we decided that we needed some strong, innovative leadership to head up this particular division, and we gave that task to Chief Wade, so I'm going to ask him to come up now, and he'll have some additional comments and introductions, and at the end of the presentation, we'll be available for questions. Chief Wade.
Thank you, sir. All right, good morning. First of all, we're not only here to celebrate the 100th demolition, we're here to celebrate the hard work of the men and women from the Community Improvement Division. And behind me, I want to introduce Sergeant Jay Coleman, Supervisor Henry Davis, Supervisor Coretta Laird, and Commander Sandra Stasher. But behind them, the men and women you see with the gray shirts on are the backbone. They're the heartthrob of what we're trying to do in the city of Jackson. I want to make sure you get a good angle of them. They're the ones who, the rubber meets the road, and they're the ones who are doing the hard work for us. All right? All right, and at this time, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to bring forward Commander Sandra Stasher. She is the commander of the Community Improvement Division.
One second. Before I bring up Commander, where's Sheila Bird? Oh, Sheila Bird is here, and she's representing Mayor Yarber, who couldn't be here. Okay. Commander. Oh, excuse me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Chief Vance and Chief Wade said, the Community Improvement Unit has been very productive this fiscal year. There were a total of 15,252 inspections, 2,446 cases presented to hearing officers, 1,294 311 complaints received, 3,368 311 complaints resolved. There were 385 initiated demolition cases. To date, we have 107 completed demolition cases. There were 443 initiated board-up cases, 185 completed board-up cases, 1,723 initiated grass and weed cases, 1,081 completed grass and weeds cases, 122 housing inspections, and 261 lots cleared by inmate labor. With the use of inmate labor, year to date, we've saved the city approximately $4,000 and $1,100,000.
Wow,
I'm sorry, 411,000.
Yes.
Mike?
That's it.
Wait. Mike, you got anything? Yeah, you good? Okay. All right. Well, the only other thing I can add is this. What's so significant about this is that the prior year, 2014, I think the number for demolitions was 0.
Zero.
Zero.
Yes, sir.
So we've gone from 0 the previous fiscal year to 107, Sergeant?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, which I believe is a significant accomplishment, and it's just the beginning. We know that there's a lot of dilapidated housing and overgrown lots that are left, but I want to take the time out to recognize a couple of more things. First of all, I don't know if Commander pointed it out, but we'll make sure that we show it to you. A lot of these houses were demolished by the people who actually own them. Now that's something that was not going on prior to. Chief Wade and his staff initiated that as a part of the overall strategy, and we were able to get some of the people who own these properties to come back and clean them up or demolish them at their own cost. That's part of the $411,000 that Commander Stasher was talking about. So again, it's an example of what can be accomplished when you have a purpose, a strategy, community involvement, and also in our case, a mandate from Mayor Yarber. So with that, if anybody, I'm sorry.
We wanted to get the community, the citizens who live in the community to say something.
Yeah, sure. Anybody?
Ms. Jenkins?
All right, yay, Miss Jenkins.
I am Eddie Jenkins. I've been living here in this neighborhood over 40 years. And we've been doing real good, but lately we just had a lot of problems. There's some lots in the next block down. That lot needs cutting.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be on the list.
And we try to do what we can to keep the neighborhood up. But some things we just can't handle.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm glad that you all came out and thought enough of us in this neighborhood to help us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, questions? Anybody have questions?
Anybody got any
We're
questions?
gonna go with Lieutenant Police first. Go ahead.
I don't have any questions.
All right, anybody?
Andrew? Ross? Jackson Free Press?
Wow. That's a bigger development than the demolitions.
Jackson Free Press.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the plans for the future development in this project, and are you looking to escalate progress, or are you going to just keep going at like the 100-a-year rate?
We're going to max out every year. Now, exactly what that number is, I'm not sure right now, but we plan on accelerating. Dilapidated housing, overgrown lots, as I said before, are a big problem in this city. But you have to approach it like this. You know, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. So determination, long-term strategies, and again, I have to refer to Mayor Yarber. He made this a mandate. He made it very clear to me that this was high on his priority list. I conveyed that to my staff. Chief Wade and his staff came up with a great plan, and they were able to carry the plan out. But we always like to talk about community cooperation. We need the help of the community in everything that we do, and that's why we're proud that the president of the Homeowners Association and some of the residents came and stood with us. We think that makes this accomplishment even more significant.
I changed my mind. I do have one question.
Uh-oh.
How does that, like, tearing down the property, how does it cut down on crime? All the abandoned properties once they start to go away. How does it cut down on crime?
You know, I think it's been established for a while that abandoned properties are a breeding ground for crime. Unfortunately, drug-addicted people will use them for acts of prostitution. During the winter time, we see people that are homeless that go in the abandoned properties to seek shelter, and eventually they start to set fires in some of these abandoned properties. That's why you see so many of them burning during the winter time. So getting the properties down or getting them renovated or occupied are the only two solutions that I know to that. So we don't really have a lot of influence on renovations and getting them occupied. But when they come on our list as properties that are candidates to be demolished, we're going to move with deliberate speed in order to accomplish that because of the things I mentioned. We believe that it's not only from just a blighted area in a neighborhood, but there are also some safety concerns that go with that.
Okay. So do you think in the areas that the homes that are abandoned are starting to come down, that the crime is less in that area?
We think that it's a positive impact, but we've got more work to do, but it's a start, and we believe that it is an effective way to combat crime.
Thank you.
All right.
That's it.
Anybody else?
All right,
All right. Thank y'all so much for coming out.
Thank you, Chief Vance.